Nick Faldo's story does not begin on prestigious golf courses or inside an aristocratic family with a rich athletic tradition. It starts at an ordinary brick house in Welwyn Garden City, a quiet town roughly 20 miles north of London. Nick was born in 1957, the only child of George, a chemist, and Joyce, a dressmaker. Their life was peaceful, orderly, and completely disconnected from the upper-class world of golf. Throughout his early childhood, Nick never touched a golf club. He enjoyed swimming, cycling, and playing team sports at school like most British kids at the time. That all changed at Easter 1971, when Nick was just 14 years old. His parents had recently purchased a color TV, a genuine luxury back then. On that screen was a live broadcast of the Masters from Augusta National. Young Nick sat glued to the set, watching every single shot played by the legendary Jack Nicklaus. The lush green fairways, the clear Georgia sky, and the commanding presence of the world's best golfers created something electric inside him. He turned to his mother and said plainly, "I want to do that. I want to become a professional golfer." The very next day, Joyce arranged his first lesson and even cut his hair to match his new idol, starting a full decade behind his peers. Nick knew he had to race against time. He borrowed an old set of clubs from a neighbor, loaded them onto his bicycle, and rode to the public course near home in any weather. His progress was nothing short of extraordinary. Just 2 years after picking up a club for the first time, he won the English Amateur Championship in 1975. By 1976, at just 19, he turned professional. In 1977, at age 20, he became the youngest golfer ever selected for the European Ryder Cup team. He played alongside legends and showed absolutely no fear. From 1977 to 1983, Nick Faldo became the face of the new generation of European golf. Money and fame arrived fast. He topped the European Tour money list in 1983. But behind that brilliant success was a growing and dangerous insecurity. His swing was fundamentally unstable. It was built on natural athletic feel and the body rhythm of youth rather than solid mechanical principles. When relaxed, he played beautifully, but under the crushing pressure of a major championship, cracks appeared. At the 1983 Open Championship at Royal Birkdale, with a legitimate chance to claim his first major title, his swing betrayed him at the worst possible moment. He lost control and watched the trophy slip right out of his hands. That failure hit him like cold water to the face. He realized that with his current technique, he could earn money and win smaller tournaments, but he would never reach the legendary heights he had dreamed about since age 14. He was building a castle on sand. Standing at the peak of European fame at 26, Nick faced a defining crossroads. He could keep going as a wealthy, beloved star and accept being a very good golfer rather than a truly great one, or he could admit his weakness, tear down everything that had made his name, and rebuild from nothing, risking his entire career in the process. The obsession with perfection won out over the fear of failure. In 1984, Nick sought out David Ledbetter, a Zimbabwe-born coach with unconventional teaching methods. Ledbetter was blunt from day one. The process would take at least 2 full years. In those 2 years, Nick would have to accept playing terribly before he would ever see the light. They would tear down the old swing completely and build an entirely new movement from scratch. Nick agreed without hesitation and entered the darkest stretch of his career. What followed was relentless hard labor. Nick disappeared from the rankings and isolated himself on empty practice ranges. He and Ledbetter started over from absolute zero, drilling the most fundamental details like grip, stance, and shoulder rotation. Nick hit balls into a net in his own backyard, not caring where they flew, focused entirely on how each movement felt in his body. His hands developed thick calluses, sometimes bled, and had to be bandaged. He kept going anyway. True to Ledbetter's warning, Nick's performance fell off a cliff in 1985 and 1986. From Europe's #1 player, he became a mediocre golfer who was routinely eliminated in early rounds. He looked clumsy and lost on the course. The British tabloids smelled blood. They mocked him relentlessly and branded him a fool for throwing away natural talent to chase a mechanical theory. The nickname Nick Faldo became Nick Faldo, a sarcastic jab implying he always collapsed under pressure. Sponsors began to pull away. Fans turned their backs. Nick was completely isolated, considered cold, boring, and emotionless. But he knew exactly what he was doing. He was accepting temporary humiliation in exchange for permanent sustainability. The moment of truth arrived in the summer of 1987 at the Open Championship at Muirfield, Scotland. Nick entered with a new swing honed over 2 years of obsessive refinement. In the final round, with brutal wind and freezing fog blanketing the course, the world's best golfers started falling apart around him. Nick did something almost unheard of. He made 18 consecutive pars across the entire final round. Not a single birdie, but not a single bogey either. Cold, methodical, and utterly composed. His opponent, Paul Azinger, made critical errors in the closing holes and handed Nick the claret jug. Nick Faldo was a major champion, and more importantly, he had proven to the entire world that the path he chose was right. What followed from 1989 to 1996 was an era of absolute dominance. He won 2 more Open Championships in 1990 and 1992. He put on the coveted green jacket at the Masters 3 times, in 1989, 1990, and most memorably in 1996. 6 major titles in total. 97 weeks ranked as the world number 1. A fortune built through prize money, endorsement deals with global brands, and his own Faldo design company, which created golf courses across the United States, Europe, Asia, and beyond. His estimated net worth reached approximately $60 million. Away from the course, Nick indulged in perfectionist instincts through an impressive collection of Porsche automobiles, luxury real estate on multiple continents, and a deep, almost spiritual passion for fly fishing. He would charter private jets to remote rivers in Iceland, Russia, and New Zealand just to stand in cold water and cast a line with the same precision he applied to every golf shot. But the same extreme focus that built his empire quietly destroyed his personal life. 3 marriages ended in very public, very expensive divorces. The second divorce, from Jill Bennett in 1998, cost him roughly 7.5 million British pounds. A subsequent relationship ended with his ex-girlfriend smashing his prized Porsche 959 with one of his own 9-iron clubs. The British press had a field day. His children grew up largely without a present father. Nick Faldo was a king on the golf course and, by his own admission, a failure at home. In time, he reinvented himself once more. Starting in 2006, he became one of the most respected golf analysts on American television, spending 16 years with CBS Sports. He brought the same sharp analytical mind to commentary booth that he once used to rebuild his swing, and audiences discovered a more human, self-deprecating, and genuinely funny side of him. In 2009, Queen Elizabeth II knighted him, and the dressmaker's son from Welwyn Garden City became Sir Nick Faldo. England had finally welcomed its most complicated son back home. His Faldo series, launched in 1996, became his greatest gift to the sport, a non-profit global tournament system that discovered and developed young talent, including Rory McIlroy. In August 2022, Sir Nick Faldo said goodbye to his broadcasting career. He reportedly said simply that he wanted his weekends back. Nick Faldo dared to destroy everything he had built, not once but repeatedly, in pursuit of something better. That is the real story, not the 6 majors, not the Porsche collection, not even the knighthood. The real story is a man who refused to accept good enough when he could still feel the distance between where he was and where greatness actually lived.